Tom sat on a small wooden stool in his garage, wiping the grease from his hands with an old rag. The smell of oil and metal filled the air around him. Outside, the sun was starting to set, casting a warm orange glow through the dusty windows. It was another quiet evening in a small town where everyone knew each other, and life moved slowly. Tom was a single dad. He had no big house or fancy car. His garage was small, filled with tools and parts of old motorcycles that he repaired for people in town. It wasn't much, but it was enough to keep him and his son, Leo, going. Leo was 8 years old and full of energy. He loved to watch his dad work on bikes. Sometimes, he would try to help by handing over a wrench or holding a flashlight, but mostly, he just liked sitting nearby, listening to the sound of engines and the soft clinking of tools. Leo admired his dad a lot, not just because Tom fixed motorcycles, but because Tom was strong and kind. Tom was also a veteran. He had served in the army for many years. The memories of his time in the service were not always easy to think about. He had seen many hard things, but he never talked much about them. Instead, he focused on building a better life for Leo. The small garage was more than just a workshop, it was a place where Tom found peace. After long days at his job in a factory, he would come here to work on motorcycles. It helped him forget the worries and the loneliness. When he fixed a bike, he felt useful, like he was doing something important. Tonight, Tom was working on a bike that belonged to Mr. Harper, the local school teacher. The bike was old and worn, but Tom knew it well. He had fixed it many times before. The engine was stubborn today, and it would not start. Tom leaned closer, listening carefully to the sounds, trying to find the problem. "Dad, can I help?" Leo asked, standing beside him, his eyes bright with hope. Tom smiled and nodded. "Sure, Leo. Can you hold this flashlight for me?" Leo took the flashlight and pointed the light at the engine. He watched his dad's hands move quickly and carefully. Tom was patient, explaining what he was doing in simple words. "This part here is called a carburetor. It mixes the air and fuel to make the bike run. Sometimes, it gets dirty and needs cleaning." Leo looked at the small parts with interest. "Can I clean it, Dad?" Tom laughed softly. "Maybe next time, when you're a little bigger. But you're doing a good job holding the light." The two of them worked together, the silence between them comfortable and warm. It was a special time, a moment of calm in their busy lives. After a while, the bike's engine growled softly. Tom smiled. "There we go. It's alive again." Leo cheered. "You did it, Dad." Tom looked at his son and felt a deep pride. "We did it, Leo. Together." Outside the garage, the world moved on. People walked by, some waving to Tom. He waved back. Life was simple here, but it wasn't always easy. Tom had to work hard to pay the bills and take care of Leo. Sometimes, the days were long, and the nights were lonely. But moments like this made it all worth it. Leo ran outside to play, his laughter echoing down the street. Tom watched him for a moment, then turned back to the garage. He looked around at the tools and the bikes, feeling a quiet hope inside. Tom's phone buzzed on the workbench. He picked it up and saw a message from his sister, asking how he and Leo were doing. He typed back quickly, "We're good. Just fixing bikes and making it through." Tom put the phone down and took a deep breath. He thought about the future, what it would bring for him and Leo. He wanted a better life for his son. He wanted to give him everything he never had. As the sun disappeared behind the hills, the garage grew darker. Tom turned on a small lamp, the light soft and steady. He cleaned his tools carefully and locked the door. "Tomorrow will be a new day," he whispered to himself. Tom wasn't a rich man, and he didn't have many friends. But he had Leo, and he had hope. And for now, that was enough. The next morning, the small town woke up to a bright and clear day. Birds sang outside Tom's window as he brewed a cup of coffee in the kitchen. Leo sat at the table, eating his breakfast, humming a little tune. Tom watched his son with a smile. Despite all the struggles, moments like this made life feel good. After breakfast, Tom kissed Leo on the forehead and told him to get ready for school. Leo ran to get his backpack, eager to start the day. Tom then headed to his garage to prepare for work. He had a full schedule of bikes to fix, and he knew it would be a long day. The garage door opened with a soft creak as Tom entered. The cool air smelled of oil and rubber, and he felt at home. He checked his list of repairs and got to work. The sound of tools clinking and engines humming filled the space. Suddenly, a loud roar broke the quiet. Tom looked up to see a shiny black Harley-Davidson motorcycle pulling up to the edge of the street. The bike was different from the usual ones he fixed. It gleamed under the sun, polished and strong. The rider was a tall man, wearing a leather jacket with a silver emblem on the back. His face was hidden behind dark sunglasses, but Tom could tell he was not from around here. The man stopped his bike and looked around. The bike made a strange noise, then suddenly slowed and stopped completely. Tom saw the rider get off, clearly frustrated. Tom stepped outside his garage and called out, "Hey, you having some trouble?" The man nodded. "Yeah, the bike just stopped running. I don't know what's wrong." Tom wiped his hands on his pants and walked over. "I'm Tom. I fix motorcycles. Maybe I can help." The man studied Tom for a moment, then smiled slightly. "I'm Sam. I could use some help. This bike is special to me." Tom noticed a small gold badge on Sam's jacket, but he didn't ask about it. Instead, he gestured toward the garage. "Bring it in. Let's take a look." Sam nodded and pushed his bike into the garage. Tom grabbed his tools and started to inspect the engine. Sam watched quietly, his arms crossed. Tom worked carefully, checking the engine, the fuel lines, and the wiring. The bike was complex and well cared for, but something was clearly wrong. After a few minutes, Tom found a small broken wire near the ignition. "Here it is," Tom said, pointing. "This wire is broken. It stops the bike from starting. I can fix this for you." Sam's eyes brightened. "Really? You think you can fix it?" Tom smiled. "I've fixed many bikes. It's nothing I can't handle." As Tom worked, Sam watched him closely. "You don't just fix bikes," Sam said. "You seem calm, steady. Like you know what you're doing." Tom nodded. "I served in the army. That taught me to stay calm under pressure." Sam looked surprised but said nothing more. After about an hour, Tom tightened the last bolt and stood back. "Try it now." Sam turned the key, and the engine roared to life. The sound was deep and smooth. Sam smiled wide and looked at Tom with gratitude. "Thank you," Sam said. "I've had this bike for years. It means a lot to me." Tom nodded, feeling proud. "Glad to help." Sam looked around the small garage, noticing the worn tools and old parts. "This is a simple place," he said softly. But you make it work. Tom shrugged. It's home. Sam nodded again. You know, most people would charge a lot for this. But you didn't ask for much. Tom smiled. Helping someone is more important than money. Sam reached into his jacket and pulled out a small card. If you ever want to visit a real motorcycle event, this is an invitation. It's in the city nearby. You and your son should come. Tom took the card and looked at it carefully. It had a name and a date for a big motorcycle rally. He hesitated. I don't know. It's not really my kind of thing. Sam laughed lightly. Maybe it's time to try something new. It could be fun. Tom smiled but didn't say anything more. He was thinking about Leo and how much the boy loved motorcycles. Maybe it was an opportunity. Sam looked at his bike and then back at Tom. You know, you remind me of someone I once knew. Strong, quiet, and honest. It's rare. Tom felt a warmth inside but kept his face steady. Before leaving, Sam shook Tom's hand firmly. Thanks again, Tom. I hope to see you at the rally. Tom watched as Sam rode away, the powerful sound of the Harley echoing down the street. After Sam left, Tom stood outside the garage, holding the invitation card in his hand. The sun was higher now, and the town buzzed with its usual activity. But in Tom's heart, something had changed. He looked down at the card again. Maybe this was a chance, something new and exciting for him and Leo. Tom smiled and walked back into the garage, ready to finish his work. Whatever the future held, he knew he was ready to face it. The days after Sam's visit passed quickly. Tom went back to his usual routine, fixing bikes, working at the factory, and taking care of Leo. But the invitation to the motorcycle rally stayed in his mind. He kept looking at the small card Sam had given him, wondering if he should take a chance. Leo noticed the card too. One evening, as they sat at the kitchen table eating dinner, Leo asked, "Dad, what's that card for?" Tom smiled gently. "It's an invitation to a big motorcycle rally in the city. A man named Sam gave it to me. He's a motorcycle rider with a very special bike." Leo's eyes lit up. "Can we go, Dad? Please?" Tom looked at his son's hopeful face and felt a warm feeling inside. He wanted to give Leo new experiences and happy memories. "Maybe we can. We'll see." That night, Tom sat alone in the garage, cleaning his tools by the soft glow of a single lamp. The room was quiet except for the occasional sound of a car passing outside. He thought about his life, the long hours, the challenges of being a single dad, and the memories from his time in the army. Fixing motorcycles had always been more than a job to Tom. It was his way of healing. Each bike was a problem to solve, a puzzle to complete. But lately, he realized that sometimes, fixing things went beyond engines and parts. He thought about Sam. There was something different about the billionaire rider. Sam wasn't just rich or famous, he seemed lonely in a way Tom understood. Wealth and success didn't always bring happiness, Tom knew that from his own life. The next morning, Tom found himself working on an old bike that a neighbor had brought in. It was rusty and had been sitting outside for years. The engine was stubborn and rough, much like the lives of many people in their town. Leo sat nearby, playing with a small toy motorcycle, watching his dad work. Tom noticed how his son's eyes followed every move of his hands, how he studied the way bolts turned and parts moved. Tom decided to teach Leo more about motorcycles. "See this part," he said, holding up a worn-out spark plug. "It helps the engine start by making a small spark. If it's dirty or broken, the bike won't run. Leo reached out and touched the spark plug carefully. Can I try fixing something? Tom smiled. You can help me clean this part. Together, they cleaned the spark plug with a small brush and put it back into the engine. When Tom turned the key, the bike sputtered and then roared to life. Leo jumped up and down with joy. You did it, Dad. We fixed it. Tom laughed, feeling proud. We did it together. As they worked side by side, Tom realized that these moments were the most important parts of his life. Not the money or the struggles, but the time he spent with Leo, teaching him, sharing stories, and building memories. Later that day, Tom thought about Sam again. The billionaire rider had trusted him to fix his precious Harley. That trust meant a lot to Tom. It reminded him that no matter who you are, everyone needs help sometimes. Tom decided to call Sam. He wasn't sure what he would say, but he wanted to thank him for the invitation and maybe learn more about the rally. Sam answered the phone on the second ring. Tom. Good to hear from you. Tom smiled, even though Sam couldn't see it. Hi, Sam. Thanks again for the invitation. I'm thinking about coming to the rally with my son. That's great. It's a big event, full of people who love motorcycles and stories like yours. You'll fit right in, Sam said warmly. Tom felt a small hope growing inside him. Maybe this rally was more than just a gathering of bikes. Maybe it was a chance for him and Leo to find a new beginning. Over the next few days, Tom prepared. He cleaned his old motorcycle until it shined. He packed a small bag for Leo and himself. When the day of the rally came, Tom looked at his son's excited face and felt a mixture of nervousness and excitement. As they rode toward the city, the open road stretched ahead like a promise. Tom thought about the journey, not just the one on the road but the journey of healing and hope he was on with Leo. When they arrived at the rally, the sight was amazing. Hundreds of motorcycles of all shapes and sizes filled the open field. The air was alive with the sound of engines, laughter, and music. Tom felt a bit overwhelmed, but Leo's excitement was contagious. They found a quiet spot to park and watched as riders talked and showed off their bikes. Tom saw Sam waving at them from across the field and felt a sense of belonging he hadn't felt in a long time. As the sun set and the lights of the rally flickered on, Tom realized that fixing a bike was only part of his story. What mattered most was the connection, the friendships, the moments, and the hope that came with every turn of the wheel. And in that moment, surrounded by roaring engines and smiling faces, Tom knew he was ready for whatever came next. The morning after their arrival at the rally was bright and full of promise. Tom and Leo woke up early in their small rented room near the event grounds. The sounds of motorcycles starting and riders chatting drifted in through the open window. Leo was already dressed and bouncing with excitement. Dad, let's go see the bikes. Please. Leo said, grabbing Tom's hand. Tom smiled and nodded. All right, let's go. They stepped outside into the buzzing atmosphere of the rally. Everywhere they looked, there were motorcycles of every kind, big, small, loud, and quiet. Riders wearing leather jackets and colorful patches moved around like a close family. Tom felt a mix of nerves and excitement. This was a new world for him, far from the quiet life he knew. But Leo's joy was contagious, and soon Tom found himself smiling more freely. As they walked through the rows of bikes, Tom spotted Sam near a group of riders. Sam waved and called out, Tom. Leo. Over here. Tom and Leo made their way to Sam, who greeted them warmly. Glad you made it, Sam said. I want you to meet some friends. Tom looked around and saw a group of riders, men and women of all ages, each with a story written on their faces. They welcomed Tom and Leo with friendly smiles and handshakes. One of the riders, an older man named Joe, smiled kindly at Tom. "Heard you fixed Sam's bike. That's some fine work." Tom nodded, feeling proud but a little shy. "Thank you. I just do what I can." Joe laughed. "That's what matters." Sam then turned to Tom and said, "There's something special about people like you, Tom. Strong and humble. You don't just fix bikes, you fix lives." Tom felt a lump in his throat but didn't say anything. He wasn't used to compliments, especially from someone like Sam. Suddenly, Sam's expression grew serious. "Tomorrow, we have a special ride planned. It's a chance to show what this community is all about. I want you and Leo to come with us." Tom looked at Leo, whose eyes sparkled with excitement. "Are you sure, Sam? We don't want to be a burden." Sam shook his head. "No burden at all. You belong here." That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the riders gathered around a campfire. Tom sat next to Leo, who was tired but happy after a day full of new sights and sounds. Sam sat nearby, talking quietly with some of the riders. Tom watched him and wondered about the man beneath the tough exterior. He remembered the first time they met, the frustration in Sam's eyes when his bike broke down, the surprise when Tom offered help. Tom realized that, like him, Sam was searching for something real in a world that often felt fake. The next day, Tom and Leo joined the group for the special ride. The riders lined up their motorcycles, engines humming in unison. Tom's heart pounded with a mixture of nerves and excitement. As they rode through the countryside, the wind rushed past them, and the road stretched out like a ribbon beneath their wheels. Tom felt free in a way he hadn't felt in years. Leo laughed beside him, his joy filling the air. The ride ended at a peaceful hilltop overlooking the town and the fields beyond. The riders parked their bikes and gathered together. Sam looked at Tom and Leo and said, "This is what it's all about. Friendship, trust, and the freedom to be yourself." Tom looked around at the faces of the riders, people who had come together not because of money or fame, but because of a shared love and respect. Sam then reached into his jacket and pulled out a small box. "Tom," he said, "for all you've done and for the man you are, I want you to have this." Tom opened the box slowly. Inside was a silver keychain shaped like a motorcycle, shining brightly in the sunlight. "It's a symbol," Sam explained. "You're part of this community now. Whenever you wear this, remember that you're not alone." Tom felt a deep emotion rise inside him. He looked at Sam and said quietly, "Thank you. I don't know what to say." Sam smiled. "You don't have to say anything. Just keep being you." That night, as Tom and Leo prepared to leave the rally, Tom held the keychain tightly in his hand. He looked at Leo, who was already asleep, tired from the excitement. Tom whispered to himself, "Maybe this is the start of something new. For both of us." He felt a quiet hope that he hadn't felt in a long time, a hope that no matter how hard life had been, there was always a chance to find family, friendship, and a place to belong. The morning air was cool and fresh as Tom and Leo packed up their small things. After the special ride and the warm welcome from the riders, Tom felt a new strength inside him. The silver keychain that Sam had given him hung from his jacket pocket, a small but powerful reminder of the promise he had made to be part of something bigger. Leo was excited, his small face glowing with joy. "Dad, do you think we'll meet more friends today?" Tom smiled and ruffled Leo's hair. "I'm sure we will, buddy." The two of them mounted their motorcycle and started their ride toward the city, where the main part of the motorcycle rally was happening. The road stretched ahead, long and wide, with the wind brushing past them like a cool wave. Tom felt free, lighter than he had in years. When they arrived, the sight took Tom's breath away. Hundreds of motorcycles were parked in rows across a huge field. Shiny chrome gleamed in the sunlight. The sound of engines, laughter, and music filled the air. The smell of fuel and leather mixed with the fresh grass and trees around them. It was a world Tom had never known, a world of speed, power, and friendship. And somehow, he felt that he belonged. Leo's eyes were wide with wonder as he looked at the sea of bikes. "Dad, look at all these motorcycles. They're amazing." Tom nodded. "Yeah, they are." They slowly walked through the crowd, feeling the buzz of energy all around. Riders smiled and nodded as they passed, some stopping to talk. Tom noticed the diversity, people of all ages, backgrounds, and styles, all brought together by their love for motorcycles. As they moved through the crowd, Sam appeared beside them. "Glad you made it," he said with a grin. "Come, I want to introduce you to some people." Tom and Leo followed Sam to a circle of riders. There was Joe, the older man who had praised Tom's work, Maria, a woman with bright eyes and a warm smile, and many others, each with stories in their eyes. Sam introduced them one by one. "This is Maria. She's been riding for over 20 years and knows every bike in this rally. Joe here is our unofficial leader, a man with a heart as big as his engine." Tom shook their hands, feeling a mixture of pride and nervousness. But the warmth in their eyes made him relax. Leo, meanwhile, was already making friends with other kids around the field. Children from different families, all running and laughing, sharing stories about their favorite bikes and dreams of riding. Tom watched Leo and felt a quiet happiness. For the first time in a long time, he saw a future full of hope, not just for himself but for his son. Suddenly, a group of riders came closer, their bikes rumbling like thunder. They were dressed in matching jackets, the emblem of a famous motorcycle club shining on their backs. Tom felt a moment of worry. Would these riders accept him? Was he truly part of this world? But before he could think more, the group slowed and surrounded Tom and Leo. The leader, a tall man with a kind face, stepped forward. "You're the guy who fixed Sam's bike, right?" Tom nodded, feeling his heart beat faster. "Well, we heard about you," the leader said with a smile. "We wanted to meet the man who helped our friend. You're welcome here anytime." Tom felt a wave of relief and gratitude. These riders, who seemed so strong and tough, were here to support him. The group rode around Tom and Leo slowly, engines roaring in a friendly salute. Other riders joined in, until over 100 motorcycles surrounded them in a wide circle. Tom looked at Leo, whose eyes were shining with excitement and surprise. Leo smiled and waved to the riders, feeling proud. Tom felt tears sting his eyes. He looked around at the sea of motorcycles, the faces full of respect and friendship. For the first time, he truly understood the power of community, the way people could come together to lift each other up. The riders stayed for a while, sharing stories, jokes, and advice. Tom talked with them about motorcycles, life, and the road ahead. He learned that many of them had their own struggles, their own battles, just like him. Maria came over and placed a hand on Tom's shoulder. "You're one of us now," she said softly. "It doesn't matter where you come from or what you've been through. What matters is who you are." Tom smiled through the tears. Thank you. As the sun began to set, the rally held a ceremony to honor veterans and riders who had made a difference. Tom stood with Sam and the others, feeling a deep pride as they were recognized. Leo stood beside him, holding his hand tightly. "Dad, you're my hero," he whispered. Tom looked down at Leo, feeling a love stronger than anything else. "And you're mine, Leo. Always." That night, as the rally continued under the stars, Tom and Leo sat by a small fire with their new friends. The sound of engines and laughter filled the air, mixing with the crackle of the flames. Tom looked around and realized that this was more than a rally, it was a family. A place where he and Leo could find support, friendship, and hope. And as the night grew quiet, Tom felt ready for the road ahead, knowing he was never alone. The rally was now in full swing, and Tom felt more at home than he had in years. Each day brought new faces, new stories, and more reasons to believe in the kindness of people. On the morning after the big gathering, Tom woke early and stepped outside. The fresh air was cool, and the sky was painted with soft colors of dawn. Leo was still asleep inside, tired from the excitement. Tom sat on the porch of their small cabin and thought about the journey that had brought them here. From his quiet life as a single dad fixing bikes in a small town to this place, surrounded by hundreds of riders who had welcomed him like family. Just then, Sam appeared, walking toward Tom with a cup of coffee in hand. "Morning, Tom," Sam said with a smile. "I thought you might want some company." Tom nodded and accepted the cup. "Thanks, Sam. It's been a lot. But good." Sam sat down beside him. "I know. It's not easy to start over. But sometimes, the road shows us the way." Tom looked at Sam, curious. "What do you mean?" Sam took a slow sip of his coffee. "After years of chasing success and money, I realized I was lost. It wasn't until I met people like you, who value trust and kindness, that I found something real." Tom listened carefully. "It's hard to believe that things can change." Sam smiled softly. "It is. But change is the only way to grow." Tom thought about his own story, his time in the army, the struggles of being a single dad, the long days and lonely nights. "I want to be strong for Leo," Tom said quietly. "But sometimes, I worry I'm not enough." Sam looked at him with understanding eyes. "You are enough, Tom. You're stronger than you think." As they talked, Leo woke up and came outside, rubbing his eyes. "Good morning, Dad." "Good morning, Sam." Tom smiled and stood up, lifting Leo into a warm hug. "Good morning, Leo. Ready for another day?" Leo nodded eagerly. "Can we see more bikes? Maybe learn to fix more things?" Tom laughed. "Of course." Together, the three of them walked to the garage area where riders were working on their motorcycles. Tom knelt beside a bike with a young rider named Jake, who was struggling with a broken chain. "Need a hand?" Tom asked. Jake smiled. "Yes, please. I can't seem to get this chain back on right." Tom showed Jake how to align the chain and secure it properly. Leo watched closely, soaking in every word. As Tom worked, Jake told stories about his own life, his dreams, his challenges, and how motorcycles helped him feel free. Tom shared some of his own experiences, and soon, others gathered to listen. It was more than just fixing bikes, it was about sharing life lessons. Tom realized that every bike had a story, just like every person. Later that afternoon, Sam invited Tom and Leo to join a group ride through winding country roads. The riders gathered at the edge of the rally, engines humming softly in the warm sun. Tom felt a flutter of nerves but also excitement. He glanced at Leo, who was ready with his small helmet and big smile. As they rode, the world seemed to open up before them. Trees passed by like green shadows, birds sang above, and the wind felt like a gentle friend. Tom's mind cleared, and for the first time in a long while, he felt peace. The ride ended at a small lake surrounded by trees. The riders parked their bikes and sat by the water, sharing snacks and stories. Sam turned to Tom. "You've come a long way, Tom. What do you think about all this?" Tom looked around the laughter, the friendship, the open sky and smiled. "I think, this is what life should be. Simple, honest, and full of connection." Leo jumped up and ran to the water's edge, skipping stones across the surface. Tom watched him and felt a deep gratitude. As the sun began to set, painting the sky with oranges and purples, Tom knew that this rally was more than just an event. It was a turning point, a new beginning for him and Leo. That night, as they returned to their cabin, Tom held Leo close. "You know, Leo, the road teaches us many things. About courage, kindness, and hope." Leo looked up at his dad with bright eyes. "I want to be brave like you someday." Tom smiled, feeling a warmth that filled his heart. "You already are, buddy. And I'll always be here to help you." The next morning, as the rally prepared to close, Tom felt ready to face whatever came next. The keychain from Sam glinted in the sunlight, a symbol not just of motorcycles, but of friendship, trust, and the road ahead. And with Leo by his side, Tom knew that no matter where life took them, they would always find a way forward together. Would you like me to finish with part 7 now? Or want any changes or additions here? Certainly. Here's part 6 of the story, about 800 words, simple and engaging in third-person style. The last day of the rally arrived faster than Tom expected. The camp was filled with a mix of laughter, hugs, and promises to stay in touch. Tom stood beside Leo, watching the riders pack their bikes, ready to leave but carrying new memories in their hearts. Tom felt a deep gratitude for the journey that had brought him here. It wasn't just about motorcycles or the thrill of the ride, it was about finding a family, a community that accepted him and his son without judgment. Sam came over and clapped Tom on the shoulder. "You did great, Tom. I'm proud of you." Tom smiled, feeling a little shy. "Thanks, Sam. I couldn't have done it without you and everyone else." Sam nodded. "That's what family does. We lift each other up." Leo tugged at Tom's sleeve. "Dad, can we come back next year? Please." Tom knelt down and hugged him tightly. "We will, Leo. We will." Before they left, Sam handed Tom a small envelope. "Open it when you get home," he said with a wink. Tom nodded and slipped the envelope into his pocket. The group said their goodbyes, the engines roared to life, and one by one, the riders rode off into the horizon. Tom and Leo climbed onto their bike, the familiar feeling of the engine beneath them comforting. As they rode away, Tom looked back at the empty field, feeling the weight of the past lift from his shoulders. When they reached home, Tom finally opened the envelope. Inside was a letter from Sam and a photo of the riders from the rally, all smiling and waving. The letter read, "Tom, you showed courage, kindness, and strength. You remind us that family isn't just about blood, it's about the people who stand by you, through every mile and every challenge. Keep riding, keep believing. We're with you." Tom felt tears in his eyes. He folded the letter carefully and looked at Leo. "See, buddy. We're never really alone." Leo smiled and hugged his dad. "I love our new family." Days passed, but the memories of the rally stayed alive in Tom's heart. He started a small motorcycle repair shop in town, where riders often stopped by not just for help with their bikes, but for friendship and advice. One afternoon, Sam visited with a few riders from the rally. They brought stories, laughter, and the promise of many rides to come. Tom knew this was only the beginning of a new journey, not just on the road, but in life. With Leo by his side and friends like Sam around him, he felt ready for whatever the future held. As the sun set over the quiet town, Tom looked at his son playing in the yard and whispered, "The road is long, Leo, but together, we can ride anywhere." And with that hope, Tom and Leo's story continued 1 mile at a time, surrounded by the love and strength of a family they had chosen.